So if you can't patent game mechanics, how does Shadow of Mordor have a patent on the Nemesis system? Well, the key word there is system. You can't patent individual mechanics. You can patent how those mechanics interact with each other. And that pattern of how mechanics interact with each other is called a system. So let me give you an example with Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering has something you do called tapping, right? You put a land down, you turn it sideways, you tap it to get a resource. They cannot patent the act of putting a card down, turning it sideways, and getting a resource from it. However, they have patented the entire turn structure of Magic the Gathering. So while any game can allow you to draw a card, put it down, turn it sideways, and get a resource, the entire process of untap, upkeep, draw, the main phases, the spell types, so on and so forth, if you copied that exactly, you would be infringing on one of Wizards of the Coast's patents. Furthermore, Wizards of the Coast actually trademarked the word tap, and that's a little wacky. But that means if you do make a different card game where you turn things sideways to get a resource, you have to name it Exhausting It or something like that. So they own a trademark on the name tap, and they own a patent on the system of how Magic the Gathering's mechanics interact with each other. So you couldn't make a one-to-one copy of Magic the Gathering, or even something very close to Magic the Gathering, and call it something new and make a bunch of money. But each individual part of it, you can use if you're making a new game. You can have cards that turn sideways and give you a resource. You can have creatures that attack opponents' creatures and do damage. You can have all the mechanics that Magic has, but they have to be arranged in a way that is legally distinct from Magic. So when it comes to the Nemesis system, all the individual parts of the system are able to be used. Fighting named enemies, having them remember how you interact with them, having them rise and fall within their own social order, all of that stuff, you could use those mechanics individually. But you cannot arrange those mechanics, you cannot situate them in such a way that it looks like the Nemesis system. You could make something similar, but noticeably different, but you could not make your own Nemesis system. And the big problem with that patent is that everybody wants the Nemesis system. Everyone wants a system where you find dudes, battle those dudes, have them, either rise or fall in their own social order, and then exploit that to your own benefit. And if you made a system like that, that would be infringing on the patent. So you'd need to change it in a pretty significant way that would then make it not really the Nemesis system. These are often design patents, and sometimes they're patented for things you didn't even make. It's just something you came up with and have a blueprint for. And that makes them really controversial when it comes to intellectual property law. Not to editorialize, but the most common complaint that you hear from people is that this protects big corporations, but doesn't protect small creators, and that still pretty much holds true.